What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here with
Gershwin.
And today we're back at it, answering your questions in another installment of 1, 2, 3 for the greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get those questions first. And that is what Brian B did. He asks, is it possible for the Emperor that is on the Golden Throne to be controlling the God Emperor, the entity, in the warp? So in other words, are there two Emperors? Kinda, yeah.
I mean, when you look at it plainly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have the flesh and blood one, and then you have the chaotic, or not chaotic,
God.
but warp God one.
Yeah, and I do think that there is a connection where the one that sits on the Golden Throne is somehow influencing what's happening with, like, the Legion of the Damned, the Living Saints, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I do think that there is a connection just because the Emperor is already shooting his, like, psychic presence out into the galaxy. That's what the Astronomicon is. It's just like it's like a light.
A beacon.
His energy is, or his psychic energy is the light. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very, very possible. And yes, there probably is two.
Right. Because if you think about it in the way of chaos, you have the chaos gods, and they actually give a part of their power out to create the demons. Mm-hmm. The more power they put out, the greater the demon is. And I think this has kind of shown that if the Emperor is indeed a god, most of his power is being put to the flesh and blood god, or Emperor, to keep him alive. And thus, that's kind of how they share a lifeline. Because maybe if the corpse Emperor, the Emperor on the Golden Throne, dies, then maybe that kind of severs the link, the tether between the two, and one becomes weaker. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a possibility, and I think we're going to get an answer to it pretty soon.
Pretty soon, in like, what, 20 years?
Maybe. Because I a month ago, if you said the Silent King is coming, like, sure. And here we are, with a model.
The Void Dragon coming at the same time as the Silent King. Two of the biggest named things for the Necrons at the same time. Yeah, right. And look.
It happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even have a box set. The next question comes from That Lucky Dragon. What happens to the alien race that welcomes or surrenders to the Imperium of Man? What if the Imperium split into several warring sectors? So the first question is, during the Great Crusade, there were alien races or xeno races that surrendered. Same thing with, like, human empires that were allied with xenos, and the Imperium was pretty strict. They were like, we don't want them. So if you surrender, we're going to do everything in our power to eradicate you guys, so long as, like, there's a threat. Mm-hmm. Like, there has to be no autonomy, I guess. Unless you want to become, like, a straight-up slave. And no xeno race did that. Even the ones that, like, were sharing things with xenos, they were like, oh, you're part of the Imperium now, and as part of the Imperium, you can't work with these people.
Right.
And they would kill them if they didn't agree.
And that happened a lot.
Yeah.
That's why there's certain barren worlds.
Quarantine worlds. Yeah, it was just bad.
Yeah.
Horus was involved in a lot of these killings. And then you said, what if the Imperium split into several warring sectors? They kind of did with the... Well, they weren't really warring. You can have sectors that are basically uprising with each other, because that's normal.
Yeah, civil wars.
Mm-hmm. And if that happens, the greater Imperium tries to gain control. So you have, like, the battle fleet, whatever, because there's 4 major ones or 5 major ones, and then they'll go in and they'll try to, like, correct things. Same thing with, like, so that's the battle fleets, and then there's the Imperial High Command. I can't forget what they're called, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
This one is by Bunnyhop. What's one thing that you like about 9th edition and one thing that you've hated? That's interesting.
For me, I think it's easy. The thing that I hate is that you can only cast one psychic power. The psychic power that you cast can only be cast once. It can't be like, you can't have like 5 psychers all cast a certain thing other than smite. So that's a big bummer.
Yeah, definitely. What's the thing you like? Nothing.
I like that Overwatch isn't like a thing anymore. I didn't really use Overwatch all that much. But that's about it.
Right, because when you're playing Orcs and you Overwatch, you're rolling like 60 dice and you're only hitting on like a 6.
And then they block it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way that everybody gets command points.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like if you're playing anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 points, boom, 12 command points. That's a lot of command points to mess around with and have fun with.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I don't like the unit coherency because I feel like that slows the game down. Because now when you move, you have to pay extra attention to make sure, well, if I lose one model, is that going to make another one die and stuff like that?
I thought that was going to come into play more. It didn't.
Because when we were playing, I was highly overthinking that. Like when I was setting up my models coming in from like Deep Strike, I'm like, oh shit, like what do I do?
Because they said you can't conga line.
Right.
Obviously, you can't do just one, but you could still do that, like the triangle 3 thing.
There's ways around it, but it makes your conga line not as long.
Right. But all you need is to create a bubble so that they can't drop within 9 inches.
Right.
So it's not that hard. Next question. This one comes from Tommy B. If the Tyranids represents arguably the greatest threat to the Milky Way galaxy, then why are they not a stronger tabletop army? I would argue that they well, I mean, I don't really know because I don't play. Because I was going to say close combat is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
And Tyranids have the model count, so the problem is probably their point values.
Which that's also going to change in 9th edition. So maybe that'll fix it or make things worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a buddy that played Tyranids, but this was what, 7th edition?
Yeah, and he stopped.
Yeah.
Because they weren't very good. Well, was it that? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think he stopped because they weren't very good. And speaking of Tyranids, Logan Hunt has asked, can Tyranids enter the warp? And if not, can Gene Stealer cults infiltrate entities in the warp or in real space so then they could go inside the warp and give them access, give to Tyranids access to the warp?
Yes and yes.
Yeah, everything you said, yes. Because the shadow of the warp is like a little like anti-warp Geller field. So then, yeah, they can go into the warp and kind of not be bombarded as much by chaos and stuff like that.
Yeah, they still would, because obviously chaos is just trying to kill everything that goes into the Imperium. But yes, they can survive. There's actually a High Fleet Tendril, I think.
That specifically fights against chaos.
Cronus or something like that. Next question.
This one is by Colonel Kablooey. Do you think that the Golden Throne will fail one day, and the only way to fix it is by the device used by Vulcan, essentially destroying Terra in the future, but saving the Golden Throne?
Who? Which one?
It. So he's asking do you think that Vulcan's Doomsday device is what's going to have the Emperor resurrect, but in doing so, doom Terra? No comment.
Yeah. Because the difficult part about questions like that is like, yeah, could.
Yeah, but is it... Because if you're dooming Terra, you have the home base of the Adeptus Custodes. You have the holiest planet, the most heavily fortified planet in the Imperium-controlled sector gone.
Yeah.
It's essentially kind of like having a holy symbol gone. Like if Mecca was destroyed, like that'd be a huge detriment to its people.
Yeah.
So I don't think the benefit of having the Emperor rise and walk amongst us again would, I don't know, even the scales in that aspect.
Yeah. I think it can go like either, like when, yeah, you could just like say that could happen, but at the same time, there's things that might not let that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is supposed to be grim dark, so let it happen.
Let it all.
Let the world bleed.
Just let it hang, man. Next question.
Zach Leclerc. So the new box set is a launch box. not a starter box because it doesn't include the dice, the ruler, and it being a limited release. So I think that they're going to have a general starter for each faction similar to the Start Collection boxes that'll have about 25 to 50 power later on.
I'm just mad about that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get my box, and I was there exactly at the time that they told me to be there.
It's like, be there or be square. And you were there and square.
And we still didn't get a box.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that'd be a good idea to like redo Start Collecting. I think they just need to come out with another box.
Oh, another starter.
Another starter, yeah.
Yeah.
Or just do a second run of the one that was limited release.
Yeah, my the thing that grinds my gears too is like, when is that gonna come?
Right. Because didn't they say that the Sisters of Battle were gonna get a relaunch when the thing sold out? How many months has it been?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
This question comes from Colonel Kablooey. Who was the orc on Olonor that nearly killed the Emperor? Rumor has it that it was the Beast. But
yeah, I think that fight between the Emperor and the Beast is what started Beauty and the Beast.
Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Or, as we say in 40K, Bow.
Alfie Cox. Can a Chaos Space Marine possessed become unpossessed? Nah, bro. If they're in it, the only way they come out unpossessed is in a body bag, which is still possessed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The body bag is possessed. This question comes from Baby Nurgle. If the Space Marines came across a Xeno race that worshipped the Corpse Emperor, how would they react? They would be like, what? And then they would kill him, because Space Marines don't worship the Emperor, so it didn't really matter. These Space Marines would just be like, fools. And then if it's the Black Templars who do worship the Emperor, they would say like, "You Xeno scum, don't put the Emperors on your lips."
Just like that. You Xeno scum, don't put the Emperors on your lips.
Yeah. So on Instagram, there's a lot of really good artists who are recreating miniatures, like the pose and everything, off of like the old 40K box art. I want people to do that with my voice. Create an animation of a Black Templar saying what I said. And tag us so that we can laugh. And be a little sad.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
This one's by Daniel Peak. Not P-E-A-K, but P-E-E-K. Do you also believe that the Ethereals are actually Zechian demons? Nah. That's an interesting take, but I'm going to say no.
Tell them why. It's a simple one.
¿Por qué no?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the end.
So the Tau were very primitive, and they got into like a huge scuffle that almost ended up killing themselves in the long run. But lights in the sky appeared, and the ethereal race was created, born, sent there, and because of that, they were able to move the Tau to a more elevated way of thinking, and that's how their society bolstered from being like primitive, using rocks, to like space age with robots and near AI sentience. So I don't think a Zechian demon could do all this while still keeping their... No, never mind, they could. Because the more I think about it, like, greater demons can do that. There's been cases of greater demons like leading whole civilizations only to have them be like used for like a sacrifice or a demonic ritual at the end.
The only thing is that I feel that if that was true, number one, the stock that you're creating is shit for the Zinch.
Yeah.
Because Tau don't register in the warp. And then number two, why didn't you collect during the first Fear expansion? Mm-hmm. Like, why do you keep pushing it? What are you waiting for?
And then when they did the whole Star-Tide Nexus and went into the wormhole and stuff like that, it's like it's supposedly hinted that it's Zeech that's messing with the Tau, making them kill the auxiliaries and stuff like that. Why now? Why not before? Why even lead the Tau to colonize Peck, which is where the Kroot homeworld is, when you're just going to kill them later on?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, At first, it wasn't making sense, but now it's kind of making sense. But I don't think GW would kind of push their narrative in that way. But it would be cool to have a whole race being led by chaos, unbeknownstly. And like when the Ethereals were beheaded on Arthas Malak, they were beheaded by Khorne demons. And not just that, but they were also fighting against Zychian horrors. So that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, and if they did end up doing that, I feel like that is one of those, like, it was all a dream type of situations, where it's like, well, what about the people who actually invested in creating ethereal lore and created, like, greater good lore?
Yeah.
And that would, you know.
Why is Anshi the way he is? Not very, like, ethereal-esque. He's more of, like, a fighter and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Wicho Hicham? Did the humans were able to reach other galaxies like Andromeda during the Dark Age of technology? I don't think humanity ever ventured outside the galaxy.
No.
I think...
except for somebody from the Cabal.
Well, that's different, though.
Yeah.
But, like, humanity on their own means and, like...
Oh, okay. Yeah. What was this question?
It says, during the Dark Age of the Imperium, or of technology, did anybody was able to reach other galaxies?
Ah, okay. Yeah, no.
As far as we know, they could space travel, go from planet to planet, which is a huge feat in and of itself, colonize other planets. But no, they weren't able to breach other galaxies.
Yeah. You know what? And like, good job that Games Workshop was able to do that and just be like, no, let's keep it to the Milky Way galaxy, because talk about craziness with the whole Star Wars thing, where like you do have different galaxies, or no? Is it? Now I don't even know. Is Star Wars set in one galaxy, or is it multiple galaxies?
I think it's one galaxy, because isn't that how it starts? On a galaxy far away.
Yeah, well, good for them. This question comes from Panda Say 25. How valuable would One Mind Syndicate be if they woke up on Terra tomorrow in 40K? Us? Like, if we woke up tomorrow in the 40K universe, it really depends on...
Where?
Yeah, what planet and all that kind of stuff. If it's Terra, like if it was exactly the same location just for in the 42nd millennium, I think I'll be good. First thing I'm doing is trying to figure out what happened to Bridget B. Is she a cult worshiper now? Is she the cult? What would you do?
I don't know. I feel like that'd be a very crazy thing to wake up to, because now it's like you're in the future. You don't know where anything is. You don't know what anything is, how rules and regulations operate. And if you try to tell people like, hey, I'm from a different place, like, watch out, you got chaos coming and all this, they're just going to brand you a heretic and either kill you on the spot or imprison you. And
it doesn't seem like it's a good spot, though. As a human in Terra, it's not good.
Right.
Like, even if you pretend to worship the Emperor, so does everyone else.
That's true, yeah.
Even if you have knowledge, that's a bad thing. The Dawn of War quote, or I mean the 40K quote, that Dawn of War uses all the time, and that is ingrained in everybody's mind, because the librarian kept saying it is, knowledge is power, hide it well.
Yeah.
So.
Because, like, you could say, oh, don't kill me. I could tell you when things are going to happen. Like, the Silent King will return. Calgar will become a Primaris. If
we land
right
in, like, the 41st millennium and we know what's happening in the 42nd millennium. But then, yeah.
Yeah, if we're landing, like, currently in the timeline, that's not really going to help anything.
No. It's like, we don't know what GW's going to do.
Yeah.
They're not going to get us boxes. That's for sure. No box set for us. Yeah.
And then, like, not knowing anybody either, you can't, like...
You can't just go up to, like, a High Lord of Terra. Hey, I know you're the High Lord of Terra. So does everyone else.
Right.
They'll probably just spit on you. Call you a Underhive scum because of the way you look.
We'd have to join, like, Necromunda gangs and stuff like that to survive.
Actually, I would worship chaos. Like, straight up, just right off the bat.
It's like, shit, this is 40K.
Let's go to the winning team.
Which would be who?
Zinch.
Oh, yeah. Because Zichiman is the weaning man.
And with that, we leave you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending those questions our way. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below, and we'll talk to you soon.
As always, I'm the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
And we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.